Hi everyone, welcome to our latest video. Pleased to be able to show you today this lovely Triumph Sprint GT 1050. And this particular bike, as per usual, is a lovely low mileage example. And as you can see, she's a 2012 62 plate, so registered I believe in October 2012. But she's only covered 3,800 miles from new. Presented here in the aluminium silver, and if you are looking for a Triumph Sprint, you may be familiar that they do two types of silver, the aluminium silver, and whilst the name escapes me at the moment, there is a more sort of beigey silver. This is very much the conventional silver, shall we say. And hopefully, as you'll be able to see from the close-ups, she's presented in really sort of quite immaculate condition, really. The odd tiny little blemish, but really nothing really even worth a mention, to be fair. So basically this bike is a two-owner bike. The first owner was actually based on the Isle of Man, which I guess sort of ties in sort of perfectly and rationally with the low mileage, because I guess if you live on an island you are restricted as to quite how far you can go. So 3,800 miles from new, with a full service history. She's just been serviced by us, but prior to that she's actually had 4 services at Triumph main dealers. 3 of those are stamped in the book. The 4th sadly wasn't, because the service book wasn't presented at the time. But as I say, with the service that we've carried out as well, this bike's been serviced 5 times in under 4,000 miles. So as you can imagine, the oil is absolutely pristine, as is the majority of the rest of the bike. Now we've also just fitted a brand new pair of Bridgestone BT023 GTs. In the front there. And the rear. Barely turned a wheel, as you can see, still got the stripes and the writing on. Now the reason we chose the 023 GTs, not only are they a brilliant sort of sports touring tyre, you get a really good amount of wear in the centre section, but still nice and grippy around the edges, so will certainly suit the more spirited touring rider. And also the GT version of the BT023s basically have slightly stronger sidewalls, so this bike is certainly going to suit somebody that wants to use it for its original intention, which is going touring, sticking a pillion on the back, loading it up with luggage, and enjoying that 130 brake horsepower 3-cylinder engine. So I'll do some close-ups for you. As you can see, we've got completely unblemished pannier covers. So often is the case on touring bikes that the panniers get a bit of a hard life. But I guess having covered less than 4,000 miles, predominantly sort of on an island, these haven't been bumped and bashed through traffic, etc. And again, if we do some close-ups, you can see just how clean this bike is. No chips to the wheels or anything of that nature that normally is associated with higher mileage bikes. Left-hand engine casing and sprocket cover, etc. Look at that! Look how clean that engine is. Incredible, really, for a 5.5-year-old bike. And again, just the left-hand fairing there. No stone chips or scrapes or scuffs. we're being really fussy, there's a tiny little chip on the fuel tank there on the left hand side, but certainly doesn't take anything away from what, as I say, is otherwise a really immaculate bike. Again, do some close-ups of the front, new tyre again, and you'll see on the inside of the brake disc there, that's the ABS ring. So this is the Sprint GT ABS, which is a bit of a must-have nowadays, I guess, certainly if you're going to be doing high mileages and riding in all weathers. Right hand fairing, again, no chips, scratches or scuffs, and we can even go right inside there, see the back of the radiator, the engine downpipes, all commensurate with the mileage of the bike, and the clutch case in there, and even inside to the rear shock and spring assembly, the adjuster. These so often corrode, actually, from previous experience, and the rear shocks, if they're subjected to higher mileages and road salt, etc. And again, absolutely immaculate. So we've also got the option of putting a top box. There was a later model which was the Sprint GT SE, and the SE basically came with a slightly taller screen, a top box and a comfort seat. So this is a non-SE version, but still the option of fitting a top box if you wish, and still fitted with the factory fitted heated grips, which are 2-stage. Again, not even any key scratches or anything on the top yoke there. No corrosion to the bolts or fork adjusters, which again so often accompanies higher mileage bikes. We'll turn the ignition on, you'll see it do its self-check. And we do just need to pull the clutch in to start Triumph, so if you'll excuse the camera 1 second. See the mileage there at 3824. And you may also see there the amber ABS light. Just confirming it's got ABS. That's a safety warning light that once you reach 4 or 5 miles an hour will extinguish once it's had a signal from the front and rear wheel speed sensors. And as I've said before, when we've stocked Sprint GTs in the past, I've got a real affection for these bikes because they are, in my opinion, very much underrated. I think probably because it's arguably not the sexiest sports tourer you're ever going to see. There are faster bikes, and there are probably more comfortable bikes, but there are very few that add comfort, practicality and 130 brake horsepower performance, you know, all wrapped up in a package that's really excellent value for money, particularly with this sort of low mileage on it. I think MCN themselves even say that you know, that the comfort of the pillion seat could well result in a pillion falling asleep, and that's predominantly due to the gearing on the GT being 7% higher than the Sprint ST, which was the sports tourer, rather than the GT, the Grand Tourer. So so at sort of higher cruising speeds, the engine really isn't stressed at all, and it does give a nice relaxed ride. But you can whip these panniers off in seconds actually, and whilst it will never have the silhouette of a sports bike, you could well surprise yourself by the time you take those panniers off. and maybe adjust your tyre pressures down a little bit, you can still hustle one of these around. So just give the throttle a blip so you can hear the exhaust. Great thing about these Triumph 3-cylinder engines is you get the ability to rev like a 4-cylinder engine, or just shy of a 4-cylinder engine, but you get the sort of the equivalent V-twin torque as well. So certainly seems to have worked for Triumph over the years. So this bike's also just been freshly MOT'd. So to summarise, she's a 2012 62 plate Triumph Sprint GT 1050. She's covered 3,800 miles, 2 owners from new, with a full service history, just serviced by ourselves as well, and brand new Bridgestone BT 023 GT tyres, and this bike's available at 5795. I hope you enjoyed the video.